You've seen the big lights, the roaring crowd, and the championship belts, but just stepping into a main event doesn't automatically make someone a legend. WWE has a long history of stars being catapulted to the very top, given huge opportunities, and expected to carry entire shows on their shoulders. Some of them had the look, the size, and the opportunity. Some even found themselves holding world titles and headlining big events. Yet, for reasons ranging from in-ring skill to charisma, or simply how their characters were presented, they couldn't connect in a way that a true main eventer needs to. Today, we're diving into the 10 worst main eventers in WWE history. Those stars who were given every chance to shine, but ultimately fell short. And yes, by the end of this video, you'll see exactly why they didn't live up to the hype. So strap in, because Wrestling Sphere is about to take you on a journey through some of WWE's most memorable misfires. Number 10 on our list is Scott Steiner. Now, this might feel a little counterintuitive because anyone who followed WCW in the late 90s knows Steiner could be a beast. Big Papa Pump had everything: a magnetic presence, chaotic but memorable promos, a striking physique, and a world championship under his belt. Even in TNA, Steiner maintained a place in the upper echelon of wrestling. But by the time he returned to WWE in 2002, much of that magic didn't transfer. WWE initially presented him as a serious threat, placing him straight into a feud with Triple H and signaling that he could shake up the top of the roster. On paper, it looked brilliant. In execution, it fell apart fast. Steiner's athleticism had declined, his movement and timing were off, and the once explosive force felt heavy and awkward in the ring. His two main event matches with Triple H at Royal Rumble and No Way Out struggled to capture the excitement fans expected. The chemistry wasn't there, the pacing dragged, and Steiner simply couldn't carry a match at that level anymore. Within months, he had fallen out of the top-tier spotlight, relegated to mid-card programs that drew little attention. It was a harsh reminder that past success doesn't guarantee present-day relevance in the WWE main event. Number 9, Lord Tensai. Scott Steiner failed because he physically couldn't deliver at the top, but Tensai's problem was entirely different. The character never clicked. Matt Bloom, who had previously wrestled in WWE as Prince Albert and A-Train, returned under the Tensai persona in 2012. WWE tried to erase his past and present him as a completely new force, but fans were already familiar with him and the disconnect was immediate. This reinvention had promise. Bloom had rebuilt his career in Japan as Giant Bernard and had legitimate credibility, but WWE's execution was off. Tensai was pushed with big wins over John Cena and CM Punk, indicating a serious commitment from the company, yet the audience never bought in. When the foundation of a character is shaky, no amount of wins can make it resonate. Eventually, Tensai's serious monster persona was swapped for comedy, transforming him into part of a goofy act, a move that cemented his status as a failed main eventer. At number 8, Jack Swagger. Swagger had the tools WWE typically looks for in a top star. Tall, powerful, and backed by an impressive amateur wrestling pedigree, he seemed primed for main event success. But wrestling is more than just size and skill. It's charisma, storytelling, and the ability to make audiences care. Swagger lacked the natural connection that separates a temporary placeholder from a true centerpiece. His push came after winning the Money in the Bank contract at WrestleMania 26 in 2010, cashing it in on Chris Jericho shortly after to capture the World Heavyweight Championship. On paper, it should have been his breakout moment. In reality, his matches lacked energy and his promos didn't inspire much engagement. Holding a major title didn't make him feel like the star he was supposed to be. By the end of 2010, WWE had quietly moved him back to the mid-card. Swagger would have decent moments later, like the Real Americans run, but his time as a world champion showed that athleticism alone doesn't make a main eventer. Number 7 is Giant Gonzalez. WWE's desperation for the next monster heel led them to a 7'6" giant from Argentina, whose sheer size was impossible to ignore. Gonzalez debuted by attacking The Undertaker at the 1993 Royal Rumble and was immediately slotted into a WrestleMania 9 main event. On paper, it was a perfect David versus Goliath storyline, a mysterious giant against a legend. In reality, it was a disaster. Gonzalez was slow, awkward, and entirely incapable of pacing a match convincingly. The WrestleMania bout ended with a chloroform-soaked rag DQ finish, leaving the audience bewildered. Even The Undertaker, who wasn't yet the polished performer he would become, couldn't carry the match. After one more rematch, Gonzalez faded from WWE, proving that size alone cannot carry someone to the top. Number 6. King Kong Bundy. Bundy exemplifies the idea that a big build doesn't guarantee main event success. In the mid-1980s, he was WWE's monster heel, meant to challenge Hulk Hogan inside a steel cage at WrestleMania 2. Visually, he made sense: intimidating, imposing, and dangerous. But once in the top spot, the limitations became clear. The match itself is remembered as one of WrestleMania's weaker main events. Bundy's street-forward style and size worked better in the mid-card, where he didn't need to sustain a marquee-level program. Elevating him exposed the gap between presence and true main event ability, leading WWE to recalibrate his placement on the card quickly. Number 5. Mabel. In 1995, WWF was desperate for a new monster heel and selected Mabel for the push. The King of the Ring victory was met with shock and skepticism. Fans in Philadelphia, knowing for their tough crowd, made it clear they weren't convinced. Moving Mabel into a program against Diesel at SummerSlam didn't help. The match was poorly executed, dangerous, and lacked the excitement expected of a main event. A botched splash onto Diesel's back nearly ended the champion's career, and Mabel's later injury to The Undertaker erased any remaining credibility. In wrestling, you can survive without charisma, but failing to keep people safe in the ring makes it nearly impossible to thrive at the top. Number 4. Ryback. Bursting onto the main roster like a modern-day Goldberg, Ryback had fans convinced he could dominate anyone. But his push faltered after a high-profile Hell in a Cell match with CM Punk in 2012. The situation was nearly unwinnable. Punk was in the middle of a historic title run, and Ryback's appeal depended on him being undefeated. Losing stripped away momentum, and Ryback never fully regained it. His early push was already vulnerable, and being thrown into such a high-pressure match too soon accelerated the decline. Ryback later found moderate success in tag teams and mid-card titles, but the chance to truly become a top guy had passed. Number 3. Vladimir Kozlov. Kozlov is the textbook case of look the part but can't deliver. His intimidating size and cold demeanor suggested a monster heel capable of challenging WWE's elite. The company pushed him quickly, giving him wins over major stars and positioning him in the WWE Championship picture alongside Triple H and Jeff Hardy. But Kozlov lacked charisma and audience connection. Every appearance felt forced, and instead of excitement, fans were met with indifference. The experiment ended swiftly, and Kozlov eventually found a niche in ECW as part of a comedic duo with Santino Marella. The contrast between main event push and comedic mid-card role highlights how misaligned expectations can be fatal to a career at the top. Number 2. Alberto Del Rio. Del Rio's case is particularly tricky because, on paper, he accomplished what most stars dream of: multiple world title reigns and a polished, dominant presence. Yet the audience never fully connected with him. WWE presented him as a wealthy, arrogant, confident heel, perfect for main event elevation, but fan reactions were lukewarm at best. Even during peak pushes, the crowd was indifferent, not invested, and not responsive. Del Rio stepped into moments fans emotionally owned, like winning the WWE Championship during CM Punk's beloved reign, which created a disconnect. Despite titles and accolades, Del Rio's inability to elicit strong reactions made him a top-tier star in appearance only, never in audience perception. And finally, number 1, Zeus. This is one of WWE's most bizarre experiments in main eventing. Tiny Lister, the actor who played Zeus in the Hulk Hogan movie No Holds Barred, was brought into WWE to continue his cinematic feud with Hogan in real life. The premise itself was absurd, asking fans to treat a movie character as a real wrestling threat. Lister had the intimidation factor down visually, but in the ring it was clear he couldn't perform at a high level. WWF attempted to cover his inexperience by pairing him with Randy Savage against Hogan and Brutus Beefcake at SummerSlam 1989, but Zeus couldn't carry a match or control the pacing. Any hope of a legitimate rivalry faded fast, and the company moved on, allowing WrestleMania 6's more credible Hogan vs. Ultimate Warrior showdown to take center stage. In the end, Zeus stands as a testament to the limits of celebrity and gimmick when it comes to true wrestling main eventing. And there you have it, 20 minutes, 10 names, 10 missed opportunities. Each of these wrestlers reached for the main event but failed to capture what it takes to hold that spot at the highest level. Whether it was in-ring limitations, character disconnects, or unfortunate circumstances, their stories remind us that being pushed to the top doesn't automatically make someone a star. Wrestling history is full of examples where hype didn't equal success, and these 10 stand out as cautionary tales. If you enjoyed this deep dive into WWE's most spectacular main event misfires, be sure to like and subscribe to Wrestling Sphere, because we've got plenty more wrestling stories, analysis, and breakdowns coming your way.